to share our expertise in the field of manual therapy. Uh, Thank you very much. Dignitaries on the dais, very good morning, and dear friends. It's a lovely conference. Congratulations to all the organizers for organizing this interdisciplinary conference. And today I'm going to share something on manual therapy, and why I have taken this topic is because this conference is on sports, and when a physical therapist move in the field, they usually don't move with the equipments or any medicine. You have to use your hand and the brain to fix the problem then and there. And that is very much possible with the help of manual therapy. Can I have the projections, please? Not working? VGA?
Because after this session, we'll be having a small quiz round, and the winner will be provided with a special gift. So it's a request to all of you to please kindly pay attention to the session. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Oh, finally. Great. So in every conference, you get three types of people. One, those who go for the networking and they enjoy the conference. And second one is they go for learning, they learn. And the third one, they think they know everything. And they are happy with what they are doing. So just a small quote from Kung Fu Panda 3. If you only do what you can do, you will never be more than you are now. So whenever you go to any workshop or conference, maybe you should listen to the speaker very well, okay? And then you may get only 0.01%, but then that is something new, and you should try in your clinical practice. And this is how the successful clinician will do. And since this is an interdisciplinary conference, and many times the people from different fraternity comes and they think, yes, what they know is the best, and what they are practicing, they need not know any other thing. They are the super specialized and they are doing very niche practice. That's fine, that's very good. And because this is the era of very specialized practice. But remember, another one thing, that if the only tool you have is a hammer, you tend to see every problem as a nail. It's good to practice what you know. It's good to practice your super specialty, but then you're supposed to know other fraternity also. Then only you can have a referral or refer the patient or the athlete and get the best outcome out of that. And okay, how many physios are sitting here? Could you please raise hand? Excellent. So it's more like a physio conference. Lovely. How many people from other fraternity all together? Medicine, surgery, orthopedics, sports. Could you please raise your hand? Excellent. So my other friends are also sitting here. Thank you very much for coming for this lovely conference. One small message to everyone is, I don't know whether you people have realized or not, till now, there is no medicine. There is no medicine to improve the muscle power. And it's only and only exercise therapy which helps. I'm not talking about muscle bulk, I'm talking about muscle power. There is no medicine to correct the posture. And it is only and only physical therapist could help in correcting the posture or the ergonomics of the player or the athlete. There is no medicine to increase the range of motion. There is no medicine to improve the gait of the person or the technique of the person. And we are in young India right now, and over the time, they will all grow old and they will all need physical therapy for sure. So congratulations to all the physical therapists for in such a lovely profession. Because there is no substitute to the physical therapy. At least in the next 50 years, I don't see any substitute to the physical therapy. And the very important line which you should have in your mind is, the medicine can change physiology, not physics. And you being physical therapist, you work on physics. You don't deal with pathologies, okay? For pathologies, we have very much able colleagues working in the same department. and they handle the pathology far better than what we can do, and the physical things we handle than anyone else. And when we talk about spine, I don't know why physical therapists, we only see spinal nerves coming out of the spinal column. There are other important nerves also coming, sympathetic and the parasympathetic nerves, and we have a strong belief when you correct the alignment of the spine, even those systems will get rectified. There are chiropractors in America and Canada, and they deal with the cardiac problem, or they deal with the respiratory problem, with the diabetes, with the indigestion, all those things by correcting the alignment of the spine. So same thing, when we do manual therapy, we try to do, but yes, in India, we mainly deal with the musculoskeletal problem, not with those things. This is at present is out of scope of the practice of physical therapy in India. So why I'm talking about manual therapy? Suppose if you are sitting in a hall and you see the smoke, what will you do? Will you simply switch on the exhaust fan and continue with the lecture, or you'll find the source of the pain or source of the fire? Source of the fire, exactly. If there is a leakage, you just don't keep on mopping that area. You call the plumber and get it fixed. And this is what many times the painkillers do. They only mask the pain. You need to actually find the cause of the pain and do something about it. Do a detailed examination, find the cause, and fix it then and there. And this is what is possible with the help of manual therapy. You find and treating the cause behind symptom by correcting the faulty biomechanics, faulty alignment. We deal with the physics, okay? So here I am talking about physics only. If there is some pathology, that's a red flag for us. We refer them to our other colleagues, or the orthopedician or the medicine people. They handle with the pathology. But if it is a biomechanical fault, we handle and we fix the biomechanics. With the help of electrotherapy, when you use electrotherapy, it usually takes minimum of 20 minutes time to stimulate the pain gate mechanism, or the painkiller also, same way. But with the help of manual therapy, in just 2 to 3 minutes time, you fix the problem then and there. And that is why it is more famous among athletes, among physical therapists. You fix the problem because you're treating the cause behind it, and because you are treating the cause behind it, the result is long lasting. So you get the faster pain relief because when you are doing the manual therapy, you are stimulating the mechanoreceptors and the proprioceptors in and around the joint. And that's a very intense stimulation which not only help in reducing pain, but also increase the range of motion. We still do not know what chemicals are getting released at that time. But we have seen results coming out beautifully, and there are enough evidences, enough randomized controlled trials that with manual therapy, your patient recovers much more faster than with the help of simple electrotherapy or the medicine alone. And in sports, it is the range of motion which is the most important thing. And to have range of motion, you need to have joint play. And joint play is often lost whenever the player gets injured, whenever you get immobilized, whenever you get operated. And joint play cannot be restored just with the simple strengthening or stretching exercises. You need to give passive accessory movements to that. And when you give passive accessory movements, the increased range of motion happens. You can increase the range of motion. And we all know that inside joint there is no blood supply. The cartilage gets nutrition because of the movement of the synovial fluid, and that moves because of the movement of the synovial fold. And that synovial fold will move only when you move the joint, not by giving medicine or giving electrotherapy. Unfortunately, sometimes physio thinks by giving electrotherapy, they can increase the blood circulation. There are enough evidences, there is no increase in blood circulation, no decrease in lactic acid level after electrotherapy. There are enough researchers. And in case of, suppose, knee joint, take the example of knee joint, what benefit will you get by giving just simply electrotherapy? And if you are thinking you can increase the blood circulation inside the joint, there is no blood supply inside the knee joint. And that's pathological condition. If you get the blood inside the joint, that's called hemarthrosis. That's not your case. Then you refer them to our honorable orthopedics people. Okay? So you get nutrition to the joint by giving movement. So with the help of manual therapy, you give nutrition to the joint. So what are the indications for manual therapy? I say if it is not contraindicated, it is indicated. You must try. And I'll show you a few cases. These are the black swans of our practice. You don't see them very often. Very rarely you will see those cases. And if you can get results in those cases, why not in our routine cases? I'll be showing you soon. So any neuromusculoskeletal pain, if it is not contraindicated, it is indicated. Next one is reversible hypomobility. Classical example will be frozen shoulder. Maintenance of mobility, sometimes you cannot reverse it, but you can maintain it. Osteoarthritis, cervical spondylosis. Sometimes you can't even maintain, then you can delay the deterioration. Ankylosing spondylitis, rheumatoid arthritis. I like the Lakme ad for this purpose. हम आपके कल को परसों में बदल देंगे. And that fits so beautifully in physiotherapy profession. We don't say we are going to add number of days in your life. We say whatever number of days you are going to live, you are going to enjoy. हम आपके कल को परसों बदल दे. जो आपको arthritis का लाएगा, अगर if you take proper care of your body, biomechanical alignment and take the help of physical therapy, कल के बदले परसों आएगा. बूढ़े तो हो गए. We are not above God. Okay. And this is something for my other fraternity friends, because sometimes they get afraid. Oh my God, physical therapists are going to manipulate. Excuse me, manipulation and mobilization both are totally different. Yes, we do manipulate and we do mobilize, but our manipulation is very different than the manipulation done by our orthopedician in operation theatre. Very, very different. We don't manipulate the way you do. Our manipulation is simply taking out the click and increasing the range of motion. So manipulation is a single controlled unidirectional small amplitude high velocity thrust technique given beyond physiological range but within anatomical range. If you cross the anatomical range, patient के नाम के पीछे था लग जाएगा, especially if it is cervical spine. So you need to be extra careful while doing that. And the statistics says if you check all the red flags and yellow flags, it is absolutely fine to manipulate by a qualified physio. Because chances of getting paraplegia or quadriplegia by a qualified physio is 1 in 1 lakh. At the same time, same study says chances of dying in the road traffic accident, even if you are following all the traffic rules, is 1 in 10,000. That means manipulation is 10 times safer than walking on the road. This is what the literature says. But yes, of course, the physical therapist should be qualified enough to do those things. They should be qualified enough to check the red flags and the yellow flags and do it very skillfully. Otherwise then also paraplegia, quadriplegia will not happen, but yes, patient will get some other kind of injuries which is not invited anyway. So these are the few black swans of the practice. I'm going to share that if it is possible to give results in those cases, why not in other cases also. These are the cases we did in Delhi Institute of Orthopedics, Trauma and Orthopedics in Sant Paramanand Hospital, Delhi. Look at the scar, and you know the reason of the scar. Obviously it came out, so he had to go for the second surgery, and because it was a delayed union, so he was referred quite late for the physical therapy once the once the healing was proper. And in my experience, if you use conventional physical therapy, patient may not get full range of motion, or even if we get range of motion, it will take minimum 5 to 6 months time. And we did manual therapy on him. We got this result. You know how much time? Just 24 sittings of physical therapy given over 1 month time. That's the abduction, that's the flexion you got. Look at the internal rotation. External rotation is still doing trick movement, and we had to be gentle because our orthopedician wanted it to go very gently. Patient belongs to orthopedician. Remember, all the physical therapists. He knows what is there inside. So make sure you get a good discussion. How much force to be done. It is a team approach. Don't get biased with anyone. It's a team. It's always a team. Okay? And when you are having a team approach, the player and the patient get better outcome all of the time. So he wanted us to go very gentle. Eventually he get the external rotation also. Look at this case. You can use it for the quiz competition. Count it if you can. And this patient was advised for the shoulder arthroplasty, but because of some reason he didn't want to go for shoulder arthroplasty, and obviously the fracture got malunited, and he was referred to physical therapy after 6 months of union. And total frozen shoulder, look at the range, almost the same time period. 4 weeks, total 24 sittings. Look at abduction, flexion, internal rotation, and external rotation. Another case, but not displaced, and she came to physical therapy just after 6 weeks of initial trauma. And she was crying. Look at the result. Within 2 weeks, this is the first day, first week, and the second week. Total 12 sittings. Look at flexion, abduction, internal rotation, don't get confused. This is the affected arm. And the external rotation also is full. Remember, these are the black swans of the practice. Very rarely you get these kind of cases. Look at the severe osteoarthritis because of the rheumatoid arthritis, and she was a young lady, came for total hip replacement, and she was referred for the physical therapy, and they requested for if we can have a little bit extra range of motion before she going for surgery. And we tried manual therapy. Before that, she was not able to sit, stand. She came on a stretcher. She was not able to sit, stand. That's why she was going for the surgery. And we tried manual therapy. In single sitting, we got this range. My orthopedics team, they decided to delay the surgery and see if we can increase further range of motion. And over the week time, she could sit comfortably. She could sit partially cross-leg sitting also, and she started walking. And they decided to delay the surgery for this lady because no orthopedician wants to operate for total hip replacement at this age. So they said, let's delay it for some more time, and if she needs, then they will operate it again. Look at the disc bulge. It's a huge one. But luckily it was posterior central one. And this boy came on a stretcher again with SLR of 10 degree. In single sitting, we gained this range of motion. You know how much time it took? 120 seconds. From 10 degree SLR to this. And he went back driving car. So these are, it's possible. This is another very important case. Look at the disc bulge. Okay? And this was the MRI taken in October 2017. We didn't do manual therapy, we just taught the home management, and she was continuing with the home management. And after 1.5 years, she came again because she could afford. She went for the second MRI by herself. We didn't request that. And where is the disc bulge now? That suggests it is possible to treat those disc bulge also. Does it mean the disc went back? Actually not. It shrank. Over the time, disc gets shrink. So literature says with surgery or without surgery, outcome is same after 2 years. And there are enough evidences published by Bringji et al. In American Journal of Neuroradiology in November 2014, and it says it's okay to have disc bulge. Just don't cry after seeing the disc. Maybe the pain is coming from the disc, or maybe it is not coming from the disc. You need to examine your patient very carefully. Examine your patient globally and locally. It is okay to have those disc bulge. It's okay. But sometimes patients get pain and they go for MRI. Maybe it was there before and they think now the pain is coming because of the disc bulge. And then the disc comes here. In Australia, they have stopped going for MRI. They go for MRI only when they are suspecting some red flags or surgeon really wants to operate on that case. Otherwise, they don't want to know whether there is a disc or not. Because once you know there is a disc, you get a disc here. All the time you move accordingly. And then you get a bigger problem. So that doesn't mean that whosoever come in your department, you take them for the manual therapy. What are the yellow flags? Yellow flags are osteopenia, pregnancy, and hypermobility. In those cases, you have to be extra careful. And what are the contraindications? Your tumor, osteoporosis, metabolic bone disease, vascular problem, if the patient is suffering from, if the patient is on anticoagulant therapy or suffering from aortic aneurysm, don't manipulate. पेशेंट को प्रोन लाइन में लिटाया, थोरेसिक स्पाइन को मैनिपुलेट किया, खट, अंकल गए, करते रहना अंकल 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 गए कब के ऊपर. Okay, you have to be very careful before doing selecting manipulation. And to be very honest, in Capri, out of 100 patients, we only manipulate 5. 95, we mobilize them and get beautiful results. Don't get impressed by fascinating word manipulation, manipulation, all those sounds. Not required actually. It's only 5 patients will need out of 100. 95 will respond beautifully with mobilization. So mobilization is my choice of treatment, not the manipulation. But anyway, both are safe. So, and if the patient is having neurological deficit, then don't do it. That neurological deficit could be because of single level disc prolapse or could be multi-level disc prolapse. Remember, I am not saying disc prolapse is a contraindication. Rather, it is an indication for manual therapy. But if someone is having neurological deficit, send them immediately to the surgeon. They are, forget about manual therapy, not even physical therapy. You are not supposed to touch that patient. Help that patient by referring to the right person. Okay? And if the patient is having psychological problem, again, don't do it. First thing, patient will not respond. And you get depressed. Why he is not responding? Second thing, literature says in India, every 42nd, depressed people, one depressed people somewhere in India, every 42nd try to commit suicide. और उस दिन वो पेशेंट सक्सेसफुल हो गया और आपकी जेब, उसकी जेब से निकला आपका कार्ड, तो वैसे भी 1 साल से तो आ रहा होगा आपके यहाँ कम से कम. पुलिस तो आएगी कि 1 साल से तुम्हारे यहाँ आ रहा था और आज इसने सुसाइड किया, कुछ तो गड़बड़ है. दया तोड़ेगा फिर आपका दरवाजा लेंगे. आपके क्लिनिक के नाम के पीछे था लग जाएगा. And to know those things, you need to examine your patient globally as well as locally. Few examples of the global examination. When you examine the lumbar spine, do you examine lumbar spine with the flex for the flexion? Do you ask patient to bend the knee or keep the knee straight? Fast. Knee straight or bend the knee? Straight. Few people ask bend the knee. Like the very senior people like Dr. Upendra Gawar. Our idea is to make sure that you check the range of motion, not the flexibility. If your idea is to check the flexibility, yes, keep the knee straight. If your idea is to check the range of motion in lumbar spine, request him to bend the knee so that he can enter end range of flexion. If he is not bending the knee, you are not entering into end range of flexion. It is same like patient says, I am having pain at 135 and you ask patient to bend it only 90 degree and then back. 90 and back, and ask patient, is that painful? Patient says, no, it is not painful. And he says, psychological. Because you have not entered into that range. Okay? So ask patient to bend the knee 5 to 10 degree flexion and then ask him to bend forward and then you get the real end range flexion till L5S1. And then you check whether the pain is getting provoked or not. So local examination is very important. Same way, the global examination is also very important. When the patient comes with the back pain, you must examine his foot. You know why? Because maybe he is having hyperpronated foot. And if the foot is hyperpronated, the talus is going down and in. And because the talus is going down and in, the tibia and fibula will get internally rotated, over internal rotation. And when that get over internal rotation, then the femur get over internal rotation. And when femur get over internal rotation, you get the flexor tightness. And when you get flexor tightness, you get weakness of the glutes, weakness of the abdomen, and the tightness of the back extensors. And when you walk, instead of walking with the hip extension, you rotate more. You do a trick movement. You get the weeping gait. And if you look at the sleeper, you may see the hole under the second metatarsal or the first metatarsal. So maybe the patient, I'm doing excessive. Patient, don't do that much. You have to use the camera, slow motion camera to pick all those things. So instead of walking like that, patient walk like this. So there is a excessive rotation. And when there is excessive rotation at the pelvic area, you get sacroiliitis, you get the facet joint orthopathy. And disc also get injured. When you put the disc on a vibratory force plate and then you rotate it, that's the worst thing you can do to the disc and you get the disc bulge. in addition to the hypomobile spine. So maybe the problem is in the foot and you're treating the back. You keep treating back, patient will get temporarily pain relief, not long lasting. Because you are not treating the cause behind it. We discussed, you have to find the cause exactly. And then you have to address the cause behind it. So make sure you examine your patient globally and locally. And recently I got very beautiful line for the same. उम्र भर यूं ही गलती करते रहे गालिब, धूल चेहरे पे लगी थी और हम आईना साफ करते रहे. बहुत सीधी सी बात है, लाल रंग के चश्मे से देखोगे तो क्या दिखेगा? लाल ही दिखेगा. So you need to learn multiple things, okay? See from everybody's perspective, everybody's point of view. Examine your patient globally and locally. मेडिकल में भी हमारे साथ होता था ना, जिस दिन हम ट्यूबरकुलोसिस पढ़ के जाते थे, उस दिन जो भी फीवर वाला केस आता था उसका ट्यूबरकुलोसिस ही फील होता था. So when you are a super specialized, you see everything from your point of view all the time. Maybe the problem is not there, maybe problem is somewhere else. So take the help of your team. It's absolutely okay. We all are team. Otherwise, majority of the time you will be branding your patient as psychological problem. This is another quote I got from my daughter's room. Imagination is more important than knowledge. And I got so much impressed. Because knowledge is limited to the books, to the knowledge of your teacher, to the knowledge of your senior, or to the maximum up to the Google. Imagination is totally unlimited. And the clinician need to be imaginative all the time. And those who are clinicians sitting here, they will agree many times, you don't practice what is given in the books. You don't practice. And what is given in the book probably is the idea of that person who has written the book actually. Okay? And maybe he thought rightly or maybe he thought wrongly. And if you blindly follow that, you will get into the same situation. So please, use your imagination power and think out of the box or out of the books. Now, what is the box? Box is your present procedure or the treatment procedure or the assessment system, what you're following right now, or the policies or the culture or the regulation or the method of examination, method of treatment. You have to think differently every time because every patient is different. This is what everyone says. What I say, patient has a right to be complicated. Okay? He may not be having just one problem. He might be having multiple problems. And he has a right to be complicated. And you have to address every damn thing. Then only you treat the patient properly. Completely. Long lasting. So one situation I'm going to discuss, this is what the shoulder, my very favorite technique, and if I get time, because time given to me is exactly 45 minutes and 15 minutes left for me. So this is the technique we give for shoulder pain, posterior lateral glide. And we wanted to say, many times people say, yeah, you're talking about glide, manual therapy, real mein glide hoti bhi hai, it is not possible to give glide. So we thought of doing this study. In India, because of the PNDT Act, using ultrasonic is not that comfortable by everyone. We've flown all the way to New York, and one of my students in New York, she's a certified ultrasonologist. She conduct workshops for orthopedics and physical therapists there in New York. We took her help, Mohini Rawat, and we studied whether, when we're talking about the glide, is glide really taking place or not? और हम ऐसे अपने आप को खुश रख रहे हैं गालिब कि glide दे दी और ठीक हो गया. Maybe glide is not there at all. Okay, so we did this ultrasonic study, and in this we kept the ultrasonic head there, and we gave the posterior lateral glide, stabilized the scapula, kept the ultrasonic head there. So that's the video recording, and let's see whether the glide is taking place or not. Ultrasonic head is here. So if we are giving glide, the head of the humerus should move in that direction, because as per Jenny McConnell, majority of the in shoulder pain, you will see head of the humerus sitting slightly forward, and the moment you put it back, the pain goes off like that. So we wanted to see whether we are really pushing, we are really giving the glide or not. So we gave glide, and look at this. Head of the humerus, this dome shape is the head of the humerus. Yes, it is going back. That means whenever we are giving glide, it is sustained, it is there. Next one, We asked the patient to do the isometric contraction along with the glide, and to our surprise, whatever glide we gave was lost. Head of the humerus came back. That suggests the glide is sustained only when the patient is relaxed and no muscle contraction taking place. Now this is going against a specific concept where you ask patient to do the active movement along with the mobilization. Now that's the active movement. We ask patient to do the active abduction, and again the glide was there, and we noticed the glide was lost again. Rather, head of the humerus went more inside. Obviously the muscle around the joint will apply compressive forces on the joint, and obviously the glide was lost completely during active range of motion. And then we did the passive. We didn't allow patient to contract the muscles, and second therapist lifted the arm passively. And look at the glide, it is already sustained, and then we are moving it passively. In between it is getting lost. Maybe the patient was contracting his muscles. That's why in between it was getting lost. But when we asked patient to move we made sure that patient is moving it passively, the glide was sustained. So when we talk about manual therapy, we are able to give glide. We are able to mobilize joints. It is evident. There are many literatures, and this is the live video I showed. So instead of doing active movement, now we follow passive movement followed by passive pressure. Similar study we did for the weight bearing. In weight bearing, when we gave the glide, no glide took place. There was no glide at all. So now we don't recommend to treat your patient in weight bearing. It's good to do strengthening exercise in weight bearing, eccentric and concentric, but not the manual therapy in weight bearing. That's out. It doesn't work. There's no glide in weight bearing. Another best thing I like, when the patient comes with you to your clinic with frozen shoulder, what is his chief complaint? Frozen shoulder case, what is chief complaint? Stiff shoulder, right? And after the treatment, when he goes out, what is his chief complaint? Painful stiff shoulder. So he's coming in with the stiff shoulder and going out with painful stiff shoulder. And you tell patient, uncle, aaj aapka pehla din tha, I was very gentle. Next day, usually patient don't turn up. Remember, pain is your friend, not your enemy. It tells you there is something wrong with the body. It is the alarm system in your body. Imagine a diabetic foot, they don't have sensation, they're walking and the nail goes in, they don't even come to know, no pain, and then they get infection, necrosis, gangrene, and you have to get amputation done. And he was wondering, kitna acha hota ki mere ko pain hota agar pin upar gayi thi to, and he would have taken it out, right? Pain is a beautiful alarm system in your body. You must respect that. You must see from where the pain is coming from. And while doing exercise therapy, while doing manual therapy, while doing mobilization, you are producing pain. That is not good at all. You are setting up a new inflammation. And that's why when you gain some range of motion, next day patient come back with the same range of motion. Because brain is learning all the time. Patient is lying on the table, you are mobilizing the elbow, and patient ka bichare ka nagin dance chalu hai, tadap raha hai wo. I say, come on, come on, come on. Do you think the patient will do home exercise at home? No. Nobody will do that. Because brain is learning, it is painful. If you mobilize the patient in a pain-free way, maybe he will do the home exercise, and whatever range you sustain, you gain, will be sustained, will be maintained for the next day. So always treat your patient in a pain-free way. And it is possible with the help of manual therapy. How much pressure you need to give? Just very little. It's very gentle pressure. That's not the pressure you're going to give. It's a very, very gentle and small pressure you need to do for manual therapy. And my orthopedician friends can be relaxed that it's very small glide we do. Very small glide. Your patients are safe in physical therapist hand. Make sure he's a properly qualified physical therapist, not a quack or a compounder type of physical therapist. But if he's a qualified physical therapist from a reputed institute, your patient is absolutely safe. In the name of mobilization, we do very small glide. Very small glide. That's it. Nothing more than that. And now I have 10 minutes with me. Maybe I can show some techniques here. Though I have multiple slides to show for the techniques, but maybe live demo will be better. That's why I requested for the table. Anyone has shoulder pain right now in the hall? Anyone suffering from shoulder pain? Forget about diagnosis. Anyone has shoulder pain right now? If you would like me to treat, please come. May I take Dr. Vedra to help me? What gives you pain? Please follow in the same direction which gives you pain. In the last time you get pain. So first thing, physical therapist should tell the patient, never go for the last line with internal rotation shoulder, because they will have impingement for sure. So always ask patient to go for external rotation and then lift the arm up. Could you please check it? Because in this position, still, could you please sit down? Maybe you sit down with this shoulder, right? So please sit down that side so people can see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And give the passage. Could you please move towards me? With that. Move towards me, sir. Excuse me. Shift towards me. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stabilize the scapula with my one hand, and from the front hand, I'm just be relaxed. You're not going to do anything. Okay? He's going to do it. What's it with me? Dr. Gar, just be relaxed. Let him do. And if it is painful, let him. Okay? Has to be pain-free way. Nothing great we are going to do. Just a small glide. That's it. This is what I'm going to do. Okay? That's a mobilization. That's a small glide. That's it. Now, could you please lift it up? Keep going, keep going, keep going. I'm sustaining my glide. Keep going. Just relax, 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 relax. Just relax, relax, relax. Just be relaxed, sir. Okay? Don't do anything. You would like to take the shirt off so you can enter into that range? Yeah. Just put it down. And relax, sir. Relax. Yes, back. Good. Now lift it up, 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 up. Up, up, up. Beautiful. Take it up, 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 up. Keep working it. And back. And back. Up, 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 up. Don't go full. Lift it up. Lift it up. Is that comfortable to you? Okay. Keep pushing. Dr. Well, push it more. Push 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 more. And back. Again. Push more. 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 And then back. Do it again. One more. One more. Push. Push more. And back. That's it. Please stand up. Sit there again. And then you hold it. Not with this. Again, we are going to start with this. Yeah. Take the hand in. Look at the range. So if it was 10 at that time, how much will you say now? How much will you say now? Now, how much will you say? If it was 10 before this, after this, how much will you say? How much? 70-80% better. Just 3%. And this is what the physical therapy is. Range is increased, pain gone, no hot pack, no electrotherapy. And that's the time duration. 5 to 10 minutes. So time saving, cost effective, electricity saving, and you can treat the patient in the field then and there. Thank you very much. Clap for Dr. Anyone has radiating pain in the leg? Sciatica. Please come. Anyone? Oh, she just raised hand. You're coming as a model or what better? No? Okay. You have sciatica? You have radiating pain? Please come. So this will be the last technique. I have only 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left. 40 minutes after. Please come. Can you hear me? Let's forget about it. You have the radiating pain right now. So lie down. Lie down. It's okay. We'll save time. Which leg you have pain?
Hello.
Since when?
Hello.
6 to 7 months you are having pain. What increases your pain? In the morning. What makes it worse? What? Okay. This is the leg, right? But you lift this leg up straight without bending the knee, put the hand down. मैं करने पाऊंगा इसके साथ Now those questions you were not supposed to know, that's all. Okay? That's the privacy of the patient. I purposely didn't ask loud. Okay, lift this leg up straight in the air. And if it is painful, you stop there. I know this is not the leg. Is that fine? Put it down. Now lift this leg up in the air and stop when it's painful. Painful? That's the range of motion. Okay. Move towards me. Move towards me. It will look as if you are going to fall, but you will not fall. That's the problem. Nobody has fallen. Okay? It will look as if she will look like a helicopter. Okay? Don't laugh at her. And it's okay not to stabilize this leg. Let this leg be in the air. And I've got Dr. Agarwal with me. In case you are still afraid that you will fall, he will catch you. Okay? Just relax. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put her. Okay. What's her good name? Dr. Hashiba. Okay. So I'm going to take this knee beyond your shoulder. Okay? And in between, I may ask you to push me back. Don't push very hard, I'll go out of the body. Go gentle by contracting your glutes and hands. Fine? Just relax. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. So what I'm going to do, with flex knee, I'm not stretching the sciatic nerve. Whenever the nerve is inflamed, you're not supposed to stretch it. And it's a wrong terminology, you are using neural tissue tension test. It is to be called neurodynamics. Because 80% is by neural tissue mobilization, only 20% is stretching. So you call it neurodynamics, not the neural tissue tension test. Put your hand under your head. Don't worry, that is nothing to just relax. Okay, traction, and along with traction, I'm going to, is that painful? Oh, can you push me? And relax. Relax, relax. Now push me and relax. Relax. Push me. If it is painful, you go for just relax. Abduction and external rotation. Is that okay now? Push me and relax. This technique is contraindicated for THR. Relax. Push me and relax. Push and relax. Relax, beta. Relax. Push me. Relax. 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 Don't push. When you push only when I ask. Okay? Nahi giroge. Push. Push. And relax. Push. Push, push, push. Push. Use your glutes also. Now push in that direction, okay? Push. No, not only the knee. You have to extend the hip also, okay? Push now. Take me, push me in that direction. Yes, that's the one. And relax. Push me again. And relax. Push me again. And relax. Relax, relax. Relax. Push me again. Push, 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 push. And relax. Last only. Push me. Push, 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 push. And relax. That's it, that's it. And maintain your glide till you come back to the starting position. Just relax now. Relax. It's done. Is that okay? Lift this leg up. Close your eyes. Lift this leg up till you get pain. Come on. Let's see this leg also. Now she thought it's because of the scoliosis and so many things she was telling me. We simply mobilize the hams and the glutes and mobilize the sciatic nerve between glutes and adductor magnus. With this, it is 46 minutes. Thank you very much. I must close my presentation. medicine can change physiology, not physics. And if there is a physical problem, you need to deliver effective physical therapy. Thank you very much once again for giving this opportunity.
Excellent presentation, sir. You have covered very nicely each and everything. Any questions from audience? Any queries? No question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. This was such an enlightening session, and we have been provided with such an in-depth knowledge that we are actually very, very motivated. So on this notion, I would like to say something. जब हौसला बना लिया है ऊंची उड़ान का, जब हौसला बना लिया है ऊंची उड़ान का, फिर देखना फिजूल है कद आसमान का, फिर देखना फिजूल है कद आसमान का. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And in order to felicitate Dr. Kepri, I would like to invite Dr. Ashish Mittal, sir, to please come forward on stage. For the presentation, Dr. Rajesh Rohila, sir, please come forward. Sir is a senior professor and head of sports medicine department at PGIMS Rohtak. He has also availed Johnson & Johnson Fellowship from Indian Orthopedic Association, and he was recently awarded Dr. S.P. Mandal Award in IOA CON 2019 at Kolkata for Best Oral Presentation. Sir, most welcome on stage. A big clap for sir.
I must thank Dr. Ashish Mittal and his team for giving me this opportunity to be in front of you to attend this wonderful conference. My topic is shifting from the physiotherapy to the real orthopedics, the current concepts of treating cartilage injury in sports. This is my institute. It is about 2,000 bedded hospital, Apex Institute of Haryana, and so basically, what is articular cartilage? It is the shining structure, cartilage structure at the ends of the bone inside a joint, so that it distributes the load evenly and provides smooth, near frictionless gliding surface. It is hyaline cartilage. So it has 4 zones: superficial, middle, deep, and calcified. It lacks blood vessels. Because it lacks blood vessels, so it has limited capacity of self-healing, self-repairing. So little regenerative capacity to repair. If cartilage is injured, then either it is on its own, it is fibrocartilage is formed, or you have to transplant the hyaline cartilage from somewhere else. So, but if fibrocartilage is formed, then it has decreased resilience and stiffness, poor biomechanical properties, and it does not last long, so it is not advisable to go for fibrocartilage in sports persons. Epidemiology: arteriocartilage defects are a potential risk factor in development of early onset osteoarthritis. Athletes place high demand on knees, so they are 12 times more likely to develop osteoarthritis. The chondral defects are seen in about 34 to 62% of knee arthroscopies, and prevalence of full thickness focal chondral defect in athletes is 36%. The site of chondral defects in knee, it is mainly in patellofemoral joint, more on patella than on the femur, and on femoral condyle, more on the medial condyle than on lateral condyle. The outer bridge classification is commonly used, which is based on the depth of the lesion. This is the standard ICRS International Cartilage Repair Society classification. Grade 1 is superficial part on knees involved like swelling, blisters or just softening of the cartilage. Grade 2 is when there is fibrillation or fissures in the cartilage up to 50% depth of the cartilage. Grade 3 is when the more than 50% depth of the cartilage is involved but subchondral bone is not exposed. And grade 4 is when the full thickness lesion of the articular cartilage when the subchondral bone is exposed. The diagnosis: the cartilage injury can be isolated or it can be associated with meniscal or ligament injury more commonly, or it can be part of the degenerative or inflammatory arthritis. The most frequent locations: patella or medial femoral condyle. Sign and symptoms: it can be pain, swelling in the joint and mechanical symptoms. Radiographs, we usually go for the AP and lateral and skyline view to assess the patellofemoral joint. Full length standing alignment radiographs are mandatory to know the varus or valgus alignment. And we can go for the cartilage sensitive MRI. Now that these MRI, high quality MRI, they are available, they can see, you can see the cartilage portion very well on MRI. The goals of the treatment are: you have to restore the biomechanical properties of articular cartilage, improve patient symptoms, and return the sport person to the pre-injury level, and to prevent the end-stage osteoarthritis. The treatment guidelines are: it can be non-operative treatment, very rarely used. It decreases the load on the joint. If the patient is obese, then you go for the reduction in the weight, strengthen the muscles across joint. You can use orthosis or braces and analgesics. Operative treatment is indicated when the non-operative treatment fails. The treatment options for the operative treatment are: it can be benign neglect, lavage and debridement of the joint, marrow stimulation techniques, cell and tissue transplantation, autologous chondrocyte implantation, allograft, autograft, or growth factors, pharmacological agents, or gene therapy. Choice of the procedure is based on the size of the lesion and activity demands of the patient. Benign neglect and close monitoring. It is indicated in less than 1 centimeter square lesion. You have to document the size of the defect, some muscle strengthening, lifestyle modification, and supportive medical care is used. And in this, fibrocartilage is formed. Lavage and debridement is indicated in patients with minimal symptoms, very small lesion, less than 2 centimeters square lesion. You have to debride the loose flaps, debride back to the stable margins, remove the osteophytes, remove the inflamed synovium. It is very simple approach, and the cartilage formed is fibrocartilage. Fibrocartilage is inferior in quality. Marrow stimulation technique, they are very commonly used technique. We penetrate the subchondral bone, which provides vascular access, and it provides the multipotent stem cells, mesenchymal stem cells to the site, which differentiate into chondrocytes, may or may not differentiate, and usually the repair tissue is mainly fibrocartilage, which can deteriorate over time. So it is indicated in small lesions of low demand patients. Then abrasion arthroplasty is not indicated now. In this, we use burr to remove the subchondral bone, and it is not done now. Microfracture is the most commonly used procedure in the arteriocartilage lesions. What we do multiple penetrate the subchondral bone with the help of multiple holes, making use of holes 3 to 5 millimeter apart. During debridement, the calcified cartilage layer is removed, and we do not do the subchondral bone abrasion. The cartilage formed is fibrocartilage. Then joint function must be maintained after surgery using continuous passive motion. Advantage is simple, low cost procedure with low morbidity. And plus microfracture is a technique when the microfracture is combined with collagen membrane to cover the microfracture site. These are not commonly used. This is another very commonly used procedure, osteochondral autografts. In this, we can remove the how this works. In this, we remove the arterial cartilage from this non-articular portion. We remove from this area arterial cartilage, cylinders of the arterial cartilage, and they are transferred to the this lesion weight bearing site. It can be either a single large plug or you can use multiple plugs. When you use multiple plugs, it is called mosaic plasty. Advantage is you are transferring the hyaline cartilage to the site. It involves short rehabilitation time and limited costs are involved. So, osteochondral autologous transfer system, it is also called OATS. The disadvantage is limited supply of donor tissue. You cannot you cannot use this condition for the large area as there is limited supply of donor tissue. Mosaic plasty, it is indicated in smaller lesion up to 4 cm square lesions, isolated lesions and non-degenerative lesions. The contraindication to the procedure are more than 50 years of age, large size, or when the depth is more than 10 mm. Then allografts, as autografts may not be available, so allografts, they are available in large size. And that means you are using the cartilage from other human beings to the patients. The large defect can be filled, no donor side morbidity, increased congruency of the graft with surrounding surface. Disadvantage is graft must be implanted very soon after harvest and there is risk of antigenic response and viral transmission. Autologous chondrocyte implant, this is very latest technique. It is very commonly used now. The first reported in 1994 by Brittberg et al. It produces the hyaline-like repair tissue. Durability is long-term durability. It is indicated in symptomatic large more than 2 cm full thickness lesion in less than 50 years of age and in multiple lesions. Malalignment, ligament instability, meniscal deficiency must be corrected before or at time of ACI. Any bony loss more than 8 mm in depth requires bone grafting before cell implantation. What are the steps of the ACI? We take the chondral biopsy from the non-articular area of the femoral condyle by arthroscopy. That biopsy material is sent for chondrocyte cultures. It takes about 3 to 6 weeks to culture the chondrocytes. Then we do arthrotomy, or it can now also be done by arthroscopy also. We debride the cartilage lesion to the stable margin, remove the calcified zone of the defect, and then achieve the healthy cartilage margin, take the periosteal graft from anteromedial tibia, and then suture it to the, we take the anteromedial graft from the tibia, then suture to the defect. Then after suturing, we inject this culture material into the sutured part. Disadvantage is it takes for post-operative long rehabilitation time, 12 to 18 months time. High cost, multiple procedures are involved, and it needs strict compliance of weight bearing and activity restrictions. Next generation ACI is to avoid periosteal harvesting. The chondrocytes seated directly into the biodegradable scaffold. The scaffolds can be made of collagen or hyaluronic acid based. These membrane scaffolds are naturally sticky, can be placed into the defect arthroscopically. The collagen covered autologous chondrocyte implantation or MACI, they are the next generation of this procedure ACI. Rehabilitation is prolonged after ACI, and weight bearing should be done as per the procedure performed, and you need to encourage the continuous passive motion, as is the motion is the lotion for the joint. For the arterial cartilage preservation, the movement of synovial fluid is mandatory, as the synovial fluid goes by diffusion through movement into the arterial cartilage. Treatment protocol, if it is grade 1, you do the conservative treatment. Grade 2, debride and extensive controlled rehabilitation. Grade 3 and 4, if it is less than 1 centimeter, you can neglect or microfracture. If it is up to 2 centimeters square, do microfracture. 1.4 to 4 centimeters square area, you can do the mosaic plasty, or if it is more than that, you can go for the ACI. Careful selection of the patient and treatment is based on the proper assessment of size and depth of the lesion, the patient-related factors of the age, activity demands and rehabilitation potential. Malalignment, ligamentous instability and meniscal deficiency must be corrected before or at time of ACI. The conclusion slide, the early diagnosis and treatment of chondral defects in sports person facilitates quicker return to sports after injury and decrease the risk of developing osteoarthritis in future. The better clinical outcomes after ACI and OATS versus microfracture, because in microfracture there is fibrocartilage which deteriorates over time, so the prolonged or durability is after ACI, not after microfracture. Overall return to sports is 66% after surgery. The return to sports is more after ACI as compared to the microfracture. The timing of return to sports is fastest after OATS and the slowest after ACI. The results of microfracture deteriorate over time. Most durable procedure is ACI. So in sports person, you should go for either OATS or ACI. Improved outcomes in defect size less than 2 cm, preoperative duration of symptom less than 18 months, and younger patients. Thank you. Thank you for your patient hearing. Thank you very much. Any question on cartilage injuries? You can ask.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really a very great presentation. This conference is actually very unique in its own way. We have actually a presence of medicine consultants, surgeons, physiotherapists, nutritionists, and a lot more. So, which actually show the sports medicine is all about a team collaboration. So, on all this notation, I would like to say, it's all very well to have a courage and skill, and it's fine to be counted as a star. But the single deed with its touch of thrill doesn't tell the man who you are. For there's no lone hand in the game we play. We must work to a bigger scheme, and the thing that counts in the world today is how do you pull with the team. So it's all about team spirit. So big round of applause for our team spirit. Come on guys, you have to show the team spirit now. Yes. Thank you so much. So in order to felicitate Dr. Rajesh Rohila and Dr. Salim Naqvi, I would like to invite on stage Dr. Jayant Sen. So please come forward and felicitate them. A big round of applause for them, please. Dr. Jayant sir, please come forward and felicitate Dr. Salim Naqvi, Dr. Vikas Mathur, and Dr. Rajesh Rohila.